Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, back with another video. Today's the official first travel vlog. I'm on my purpose, right? I'm actually heading over to San Antonio. I'm in El Paso now. I have a course to take for a couple weeks, and then I have to meet up with some people as well before I arrive at my final destination, which I will reveal later on, right? But I'll go ahead and show you some footage of my whereabouts and so forth and so on, right? I'm actually at a gas station right now, hanging out while I'm doing this video. But today's a Q&A, right? And I've decided that I have enough subscribers now, about 100 folks, where I can start being more direct, right? And sort of having a conversation with y'all, my subscribers, instead of just trying to reach out to everyone else. Because at first I was actually projecting beyond my immediate space in order to sort of like get the attention of others. And I found that in my delivery, you know, after you sort of assess, you know, and just based on my own research, I started realizing that I'm focusing too much of my energy on those who are just not there in life now. You know what I'm saying to you? And I know it sucks, because that's what we always want to reach out to others and help others, and sometimes our delivery may be a little more, you know, intense, you know, at times, but it's all from a place of good, right? And so my thing is this, right? It's like it's all about upward mobility. So it's all about moving forward. It's about drive, purpose, right? And so that being said, I'm taking the opportunity to now focus on my subscribers, those who actually have stuck around and said, you know what, I identify with, you know, generally speaking, with who you are, what you bring to the table, and so forth and so on. Now, it's not to say that everything that I say can't be received or attained elsewhere, okay? It's just that I find that a lot of my messages aren't found on YouTube or online, simply because most of the online INFJs are not, you know, as experienced as I expected, right? Or at least they don't display it. So everything revolves around, you know, being reactive to other people's questions, which revolve around, you know, cognitive functions and, you know, state of being, rather than actually helping people develop in a real world setting. So I'm going to target my future videos towards my subscribers and those who identify with me, right? And don't think of it as self-help. I'm not talking down to anyone. I'm not trying to undermine anyone. It's just that I'm passing on my information to you. If it fits, take it. If it doesn't, move on to the next video, right? So I'm going to do a Q&A. You know, obviously I receive a lot of emails. I don't always put them out on video. I normally reply, but I'm going to start doing them on video, so that, because I think it'll comply for other people, and others may have the same question. So question was, what is the INFJ purpose? Like, you know, like, what do I consider the INFJ purpose? And that sort of ties in with the top INFJ jobs, right? Like, you always see these videos about, hey, top INFJ jobs and this, that, and the third. Well, guess what? In my opinion, there are no top INFJ jobs, right? Again, it's all based on perspective, where you're from, where you came, how you have evolved, whether it was on the East Coast, West Coast, overseas, you know, depending on culture. A lot of these things play a factor and play a role. So that being said, generally speaking, INFJs are people's people. Okay, and I will continue to say that because that's what it is. If you have introverted intuition, if you have extroverted feeling, if you have introverted thinking and extroverted sensing, and you're a freaking judger, with that perception, hanging out there, then your life purpose is to apply your functions towards people. So what does that mean? It means that you need to get out there and expose yourself to everything you can. I'll give you an example, right? Like, obviously, I was in the military. I did different jobs, I had different career fields in the military. I'm in government now, and I do different things. But because I'm traveling, I'm actually hauling my vehicle. Okay, I'll give you an example. And because of that, because I needed to haul it, and I lowered my vehicle, I actually had to take time and raise the vehicle because it's lowered, and I have coilovers, right? So I realized, man, like, it's too low, so I have to raise it up. And when I put it on there, I secured it properly, checked it, and I even set my tripometer for every 100 miles. So then I stop and I check the strappings and everything, right? But guess what? All of this was learned through my military careers as a mechanic. Even though I sucked at being a mechanic, but I picked up a little something, right, that I can actually go on YouTube and follow it, because I'm not SC down, so I'm bad with the electrical components. Like, I was always wondering why people are so good with it and how come I can't get it. I'm not good with it at all. If I don't use it, I totally lose it. Whereas on the mechanics, they can be away from technical and mechanical work for like years, and still it just comes back to them. For me, I'm like, what tool is that again? What's that for? However, I was also a driver as well, right? So I learned how to drive tractor trailers, Humvees, tow trucks, stake beds. So now that I'm towing the vehicle, when I need to back, I can back in a straight line, because obviously when you have a tow, everything is the opposite. So when I'm in these tight spaces, I know how to turn wide and so forth and so on. So again, all of these experiences are helping me now, and so I can navigate through life, and I'm not like driving and I'm like panicking. Oh my God, like, I can't believe I'm holding a vehicle, and I have just a 2-day trip, right? So I rented a tow dolly with the hitch. So I'm going to Texas, but then I'm going to my next destination again, so I'll have to rent another one again, so I'll have to do the whole process again. And it's 1,200 miles, right? So yeah, it's a long trip. But I say this to say that it's about exposing ourselves to everything, right? So for example, right now, like, I've been thinking right now, because that whole intuition thing we have, like, the thing that it's in there, it's stuck. It's like, man, like, this is what I really want to do. I've been thinking about it. And for me, it's like, when I start thinking about certain things, like, often, I know, okay, this is what I need to get into, right? So I was thinking about my car for a while. I finally pulled the trigger. I was thinking about this new job, right, that I wanted. I picked it up. Now I'm actually moving. I'm on my purpose. And I was thinking about I'm thinking about now, for when I leave the federal government, to start my own business, right? Thinking about more franchise than starting from scratch, right? But I want to do car washing, I want to do U-Haul, but it's all customer service based, right? I want to be able to help people, be able to provide and contribute to the economy, but also contribute to people, feed them, through their work and efforts and so forth and so on. And so a lot of what I'm doing right now is basically preparing myself for that, Okay, so I feel that in order for me to achieve a certain level of success in my every endeavor, I need to sort of move in those directions. So that means that I'm going to do some internship at a car wash, right, and learn the process. But again, because for us, here's what you have to realize. Okay, this is the crux of it all. For us, it's, and some of us are better at it than others, but for me, I'm not good as soon as I get there. Like, I need to be exposed to certain things before I become proficient and or efficient, at that particular in that particular area. Same thing when I was a personal trainer. I applied to a particular job, and it was called the Orange Theory Fitness, or Orange Theory, yeah, Orange Theory Fitness. And the person had me come out, and she wanted me to try out, the actual the fitness whatever course that was there prior to me becoming an instructor. But I wanted to observe other people doing it first before I did it. So I ended up not getting the job because of the fact that they felt that I needed to just jump in there right away. But I'm not like that. I need to sit back, figure out, sometimes it's one of those what do you call those things again? Perfectionist things that we have. It's like we always make sure. But for me, it's like I need to make sure that I know, because I don't like getting caught up, and for me, like we were talking about before, right, it's all about being competent, right? So I don't like being held out there. I mean, it's just natural. Like, we want to be competent people in general. We want to make sure that we're doing what we do best, okay, and we have all the knowledge and all the tools, and that therefore it alleviates a lot of mistakes and anxiety, and also it alleviates a lot of unnecessary altercations with other people, right? So, but I'm going to be getting involved, right, in learning the car wash business, learning customer service. I was thinking about also U-Haul, picking up a U-Haul. I mean, I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to do the research, but I want something customer service based, so I'm going to get myself involved in that. I've been through a whole, like, I went a whole year in class, and I started my what do you call it again? My clinicals for radiology. Okay, this is while the economy was crashing. I had lost my job, and I had to find myself, so I went to school for that. Prior to that, I went to school for personal training as well for like 9 months. But again, it's like there are no set jobs, right? For anyone, okay, generally speaking. But again, if you are good at something, then you need to direct your energy towards that. However, with the INFJ, because I think we're special, again, special is a generic term, but it really implies that we are special in terms of utilizing our intuition and applying our FE through our SE, through our observation, okay? A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't have the ability to think like we do, like to be able to instinctively know certain things and not only observe someone's, emotional behavior or being and react to that accordingly. Because you have a lot of people who observe it, like the SE DOMs, they'll observe it, but they'll react like, oh, why you like that, or what's wrong with you, or pick yourself up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we do that too as well. But just generally speaking, we understand why people are going through what they're going through, and then we have a tendency of sort of addressing it. And not only that, what we have the ability to do, like you've seen me in my videos, you've seen my development. When I first started, I was like, what is this? What's going on? And I started making changes. I was like, okay, there's a reason. Why is this? Why is this? Why is that? And now that I know the reasons why certain INFJs are on there just because they're not developed, then I sort of I alter the way that I approach certain things. But you'll notice that a lot of TI heavy INFJs online, they won't adjust their approach. They'll just continue on. Hey, there's no such thing as door slam. There's no such thing as that. Blah, 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 blah. And like and even other person says, hey, like you're being a D. Like I've been reading your whole entire your post history, and you're this, that, and the third. And no matter what, like the person is like, oh, it's just great that you read my post history and this, but it doesn't negate the fact that blah 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 blah. And it's just, I wouldn't say that person's in an unhealthy state. I just think that person doesn't have perspective yet. You know what I'm saying to you? Again, we're rationalizing, we're trying to be, understanding, whatever. But trust me, yeah, I can get in my ways too. But I have a protective side of me. I know I'm not drifting. I have a protective side of me in that when I see these individuals, I'm like, man, like, bro, like, relax, chill. You know what I'm saying? Because I know where it comes from, and I know how, because of my adjustments, I know where it's coming from, and I know, okay, there's a better way to address, these individuals. Again, I get caught in myself. I mean, we're not perfect. But the thing is, you need to go out there. If you are into engineering, if you are into software, start interning. Go out there, do your research. Like, this is who we are. Like, we need to know a little bit about everything. We need to be everywhere. Like, you see me, like, I'm on forums for INFJ forums. I'm on politic forums. I'm on fitness forums. I'm on forums for sneakers, for shoes, for cars, because I'm a car enthusiast as well. For electronic music, for culture, for hip hop, for relationships, for actually cities, whatever. Like when people ask, hey, why is DC like this, or why do people hate DC? I'm in there, I'm giving them, and I'm explaining them, why. Because again, it was one of those things where when I first got to DC, I didn't know what was going on. I was like all frustrated, but then I started realizing, again, if you notice the pattern, you notice the pattern in that I'm like, hey, I start to understand why things are, and then from there I make the adjustments, So again, on a final note, I gotta roll out, I gotta hit the road, but expose yourself to different things. Exposure. Don't just go out there. Do it slowly, and eventually you tack on these experiences, and you start connecting the dots, and you start being like, oh wow, I came a long way. Like I was this way, here, and now I've actually broadened my exposures and my understanding and my perspective, and now it makes me a better person who can get stuff done in life, right? So don't stick to these top 10 jobs, whatever, because I've watched these videos and they're just so generic. Top 10 jobs. Oh, when you do this, you apply your people skills and this and that and that. Stop it, bro. Like, if you're gonna give me like a specific, talk to me and tell me, okay, how does the INFJ use the F, the NE, the FE in order to like really navigate towards that? How do we do that? And give me real world examples that other SE Dom or any DOMs, can't really navigate like we can. I just wanted to make another point really quickly. Remember, right, that you see, at least for me, and I think it goes the same for many intuitive types, right? Like once you start getting involved and you're starting to notice patterns and be observant and so forth, then you start to pick things up. Then it's like all of a sudden, okay, this is what's that. And for me, because of my low TI, I come to these aha moments later. So for example, but I have to be exposed to certain things. So for example, like even like after being a police officer, it's like now I understand how like cities work because of the city ordinances, the regulations, the policies, the movements in and out. I'm more aware of crime, more aware of like, okay, I see this, and that means that because I can connect that to that. So you sort of make your intuitions based on observations that you've seen before and energies, and it's like, okay, well, because the energy was there, then that goes there. So it's the same thing with like exposing yourself to different things in life, whatever your endeavors are. Once you start exposing yourself to these little things, then you start connecting your dots, and then from there you can apply it to, you know, whatever else that you have going on. So even you as a police officer dealing with people, I, you know, went to took different courses on body language techniques, and so you learn how to pick up certain vibes, certain body gestures, behaviors, you know, when someone is about to do something, you sort of anticipate based on connections that you've made in the past. So I just wanted to just go ahead and make that point as well. So anyway, Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, we out.